Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's, without further ado, let's get started. I had like a 5-minute delay. Dark Judas to the Lamb, getting this started, because my microphone wasn't working. And then I went through it all happened very fast, but I went through a crisis, man. First off, I was like, if this is broken, that's annoying. I'll get over it, but it's annoying. Then I thought, without a microphone, I am merely just a man. And it just sent me, it's like 8:56 a.m. on a Sunday, and it sent me down a spiral. I'm now, because I'm doing this like 5 seconds after I restarted my computer, it's like, hey, would you like to update Adobe Creative Cloud? Hey, anyway, we got it fixed. It's wild, right? Like, of course I do want some of those. You know what's it's interesting to think of? Depending on the... Did you see that incredible play, by the way? Depending on the order with which we got those chests, if some of them were spirit hearts, we could have been very different upon leaving that room. Could have had Mom's Knife if one of them had spirit hearts. Just goes to show you, Gwyneth Paltrow, sliding doors. You go left, middle, right. Maybe you get Mom's Knife, you go middle, right, left, all of a sudden you're a quad shot Marty. It happens. But then I got to thinking, man, isn't it wild? I was gonna try to weave you a yarn about how annoying it is that computers, like, I guess, look, here's the thing. Before I was in, like, programming classes, troubleshooting was really annoying, right? Like when you're troubleshooting your PC, you feel like it should just work 100% of the time. After being in, you know, programming, and even though I didn't get into, like, you know, super serious stuff, recognizing that, you know, there's occasionally times where you'll spend a couple hours, maybe even more, debugging something, and then you come to realize at some point that it was literally just, I mean, it's always, I guess, almost always, at least, your own mistake. And then going like, I'm the stupidest idiot on the planet. I've come to respect the idea that literally just turning your computer off and then turning it on again is actually, that's kind of like the dream troubleshooting. Which is why I rail all the time on, like, you know, whenever, well, mostly Dan. Not to, you know, it's just an anecdote. It's not to cast aspersions on my good friend Daniel. But when I ask him, you know, like, hey, did you restart? Have you tried turning it on and off again? Well, to be fair, it's not just Dan. Sometimes, you know, people are just like, yeah, wink, wink. And I'm like, no, don't wink, wink me. I don't know the magic behind it either, but it actually, at least 1/3 of the time, but probably more, that will actually cure what ails you. It's bizarre, it's a little strange, but it's the darn truth, man. Little reboot of the computer will solve you some problems. Also, and then I started to think about, isn't it wild how, like, we criticize tech support for the fact that, you know, a problem is undiagnosable, and then you turn your computer on and off again, and all of a sudden everything's completely okay. But then, haven't you had that happen, you know, yourself within the context of being a human being? You ever just have a day where you quote-unquote wake up on the wrong side of the bed? You go to sleep later that day, you wake up the next day, and all of a sudden you're like, what was I so grumpy about yesterday? I'm fine. Like Ross from Friends, I'm fine. Homer. Anyway, so like that's what happens when you got, I had a lot of time to think during my computer's reboot. Luckily, I didn't have to do Windows updates, because when my mom was over earlier this week, I went up to change a diaper, the baby's diaper, not my mom's diaper. She's, to the best of my knowledge, she's well in control of her bowels. That's where I get it from. She plugged in her phone charger into my office, and I guess you know, look, you're gonna think that my office is like, it's got sparks coming out of the outlets, but she blew a breaker, and then I had to do a Windows update. And then I kid you not, I mean, it was a bit of a mess, because my office is also like wired into the modem for our and the router actually for our entire house. So like the internet went down, which means Kate's stream went down while she was streaming. It was a bit of a mess. So I was like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Just like, you know, I agree that shouldn't have blown the breaker, but we got, you know, an air filter, a fan, all my electronics, etc., etc. All the internet stuff is plugged into that, blah, blah, blah. I went up to change another diaper like 15 minutes later. I swear to God, she plugged it into a different outlet on the same circuit, blew the breaker again. I wasn't upset, but I was like, you don't need to sneak the... It's not a crime to plug in your phone charger. You don't need to wait until I'm out of the room to do it. You can just, you know, just run it by me. I'll consult the architectural diagram of this place. I agree, by the way, it shouldn't be blowing the breaker. You know, when you plug in a phone charger, that's a troubling sign that maybe I should move some stuff off of this circuit. I'm also, though, merely saying, please. Okay, this is good. This is very good. Can't keep taking my wife's internet out during her stream. That's you know, precious mommy time. I thank you. Let's try it. I think we made the right decision here. It's going to be a little spiced temporarily. I'm not going to... You don't eat these, right? I can't blame you. You know, it looks a little... Oh, you don't like relish? Thank you. Are you a wizard? Really appreciate it. Maybe I can just go to the source and buy one directly. Wouldn't mind taking Mama Mega with me and maybe using it later. The best time to use it, you know, either you use it to get into boss rush or you use it to use it right when you get another spacebar item that's actually better. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. It's been a good weekend over here. It's only half done. Yesterday we had that atmospheric river. The water's getting warm. You might as well swim. That's my thoughts on that. So I went swimming yesterday, by which I mean I went outside. Took the baby to kinder gym. Life comes at you fast, you know. She's actually starting daycare on Monday, and I feel like we got a little lucky. It's gonna be a bit of an adjustment for family and baby for sure. But we actually, like, if you don't, and maybe it's different in other cities or other countries, but, like, we literally applied for daycare. And this is not, like, because we wanted to have it happen right away. It's because this is the necessity of the situation. We applied for daycare as soon as we got our daughter's birth certificate, which was, like, you know, 2 to 3 weeks after she was born. That night, my wife was like, make sure you apply for that daycare because, like, when I applied, you know, there's like there's private daycares and stuff like that, but there's also like registries of childcare providers throughout the city of Vancouver. I think we can do this. Hold on. And you can apply for those, and then when any spot in the city opens up, you know, it goes through the wait list in order of who registered, you know, in what order. When we applied, it said on average, the wait time is 18 months! Now, I don't need to tell you, I'm sure it has not yet even been 18 months. You notice I'm shooting... Is this what this item actually does? Every once in a while, you actually just shoot a double burst of tears? That's strange. I guess I can only see it because my rate of fire is lower than typical. I'm just going to be honest with you. Not a big fan of Mom's bottle of pills in general here. So, we still have not received any correspondence from them. I didn't know you could do this, by the way, but it just goes to show you, like, when you provide a service that's essential and is in high demand, you no longer need to have any form of customer service at all. When I applied, they did not send a confirmation email, but on the website it says, do not worry about receiving a confirmation email. If you, like... I can't... I felt like there was a tone of this. I can't say that this is exactly what it said on the website, but it said any undue correspondence distracts us from our, like, duties and may make it longer for us to actually find you a spot. Which to me is probably an idle threat, but also means if you even dare to email us once to check if your application is being processed, then we're going to move you to the bottom of the list. Which, you know, I'm not one of those people who sends an email and then sends a phone call that's like, did you get my email? But when it's, you know, you're submitting like government documents and stuff like that, it would be nice if you got something from the organization that was like, hey, we've received your application, so, you know, don't worry about it so much. But instead, it's like, no, hey, just assume your email went through. If something went wrong, we'll never let you know because there's no way for us to let you know. And just live your life. What's the big deal? So I feel like we got lucky in the sense that, you know, once we decided we wanted to do some daycare, we got in real quick. I'm sure it will produce a staggering amount of anecdotes this week. Not for me necessarily so much, but for Kate. Because on the first day, she's got to stay there to supervise both the provider of the child care and also, you know, our child. So I'm sure that'll be an anecdote farming opportunity. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm you know, cautiously optimistic. I wouldn't even say I'm like that. I mean, you're cautious because you're leaving your child with somebody for a few hours every day at first and maybe more after that, but I'm just optimistic. Like, I was gonna say I don't know anybody, like, in my entire life who, you know, daycare was, like, a super negative experience, but I guess there's also, like, a selection bias, you know? Like, the only people I have ever spoken to really about daycare are people that were, like, at my daycare. So I guess, you know, I just remember a couple things. You know, I remember playing a lot of board games. I remember there was a daycare provider who was kind of like Captain Jack Sparrow, and he taught us how to juggle. That was pretty cool. I remember one time, and this is very in character, but it's also true. This is interesting, huh? I mean, I straight up, like, kind of want... I mean, you know what we should do? We should buy PhD and then get the horse pill. Call me crazy. I don't really think we need Blue Candle when we have Dark Arts. Like, it kind of... They occupy a similar situation. I don't think we would use both. This allows us to hold Mama Mega for a later moment. Yo, big fan. He's very excited. I remember making a trivia competition and then promising, like, if you won, you would get, like, a chocolate bar of your choice from the convenience store. If you came in second, you get a pack of gum. And then at the, when my mom picked me up after I ran the trivia competition, I was like, hey, can we stop at the trivia, or can we stop at the convenience store so you can buy me a chocolate bar and a pack of gum? And, you know, when you're a kid, you're kind of, you don't necessarily, you're impulsive, right? She was like, why? I told her, and then she was like, you know, we have to pay for that, right? Like, it's, you know, relatively small expense, but still, you shouldn't just be, like, willy-nilly, you know, promising prizes to people. Can't you just, you know, do it for fun? And I remember, you know, it was a good learning lesson there to not, I guess, spend my parents' money without asking them first, especially. But it doesn't that sound like me? Just inspired to run a temporary trivia competition. Where did that come from? Is it tabula rasa? Is it genetic? Nobody knows, man. Well, no, it's not tabula rasa. I'm pretty sure that's a MMORPG. How we doing here? Boss rush is in the cards. This should not be a loss. Like, we've been bad at Isaac lately. That much is guaranteed. We kind of might as well. I'm hoping we're... I mean, I don't know if we'll ever be, like... Repentance is pretty hard. I don't know if we'll ever get to that level at Repentance where we're, like, you know, lights out, but... There's a lot of stuff to do in this game now. The challenge level is greatly increased. But, man, let me tell you, I am also, like... I'm starting to wistfully look at this daycare situation in like a very positive way, where, again, not to complain about my lot in life in the slightest, but really for a year now, we sadly don't want any of these, both my wife and myself have been pretty much like, you know, our days are scheduled wall to wall, which is probably a relatable thing for sure. But, you know, there's... I can count, like, probably on one hand the number of times there's been, like, a space in my day that is like, hey, just, you know, do whatever you want. That's not to say we haven't done fun things, but, like, the fun things have always been scheduled. They've always been, you know, as an extension of, like, the taking care of the baby, which, again, is totally fair, and I'm not complaining about. What the heck, we're guppy? Oh, I was just gonna say, we got 9 lives. I forgot about that. I was like, what's our third item? But the 4 days a week, like 3 hours that could get reclaimed here is already like, even just 20 minutes is, and I hope this is relatable to other parents as well. Even the idea, like when we were talking to the daycare provider, and she's like, oh, on the first day, you know, if they get super upset, we try to calm them down, but if they're essentially inconsolable, which happens, you know, we'll ask you to come pick them up after like half an hour or an hour. And I was like, oh my god, even that sounds like amazing. Have an hour to just be like, oh my god, I could like, jeez, I don't even know. You could like go for a jog or something like that. That sounds like so luxurious. So I'm very slow. I'm not spending that time yet. But it seems like I may, at some point in the next few months, maybe, be looking down a tunnel of, like, actually being able to invest some time into myself again, which is very nice to think about. Look, I have taken full advantage of the fact, I mean, again, this sounds really bad if you take it out of context, but, you know, we had a global pandemic that disincentivized going outside, especially, you know, going to the gym. They were, like, legitimately closed for on and off for months. And my wife was pregnant. Maybe I put her on a little sympathy weight. She's like, you know, she tells me she wants chicken tenders for dinner. Oh, no, I have no choice but to also get some for myself as well. Are you gonna eat that? Okay, sure, I'll take the rest. Followed by, you know, being very busy. You know, when I get, not mad, I get genuinely, like, admirant sometimes when I'm at activity gym, and I see, like, a dad of a young baby who's in good shape. I'm like, how'd you manage that? Come on. I'm not saying there's not enough time for you to do that. It's more like, don't you just psychologically need to eat, like, some Sour Patch Kids from time to time? Just to keep the spirits high? But I'm really, like, I mean, we were chain smoking arcs, right? Like, I went from, like, a powerlifting arc into the pandemic, into, you know, my wife's pregnant, into now we have a baby. Life comes at you fast, man. No tinted rocks out of all that. So I'm kind of, I'm hopeful. Again, this is not like, oh, I'm so thankful, you know, oh, she's turned 12 months old, now we can have her out of the house, we can get our lives back. It's just to reclaim a little bit of adult autonomy outside of the context of merely being a father is something, yeah, just run right into that, I suppose, for no reason. Is something that we have not had access to in a while. And I'm looking forward to the idea of it. I don't know if we're gonna, you know, because I don't want to get my hopes up and then maybe this first daycare doesn't work out so well and it takes us another few months to find another one, but it's exciting either way. So that's the anecdotes that we got going on here. That's about it. Well, I have other anecdotes. Look, it's nice to be, here's the thing, okay? Every variety streamer, I think, goes back and forth between a couple of, we should use this and then carry this. That's the ticket. Make sure you're taking these with you, of course. Every variety streamer goes through, like, essentially what I would describe as 2 different phases. One is, and maybe there's streamers who have solved this problem, honestly. Maybe like Lyric doesn't go through this or something. I don't know. I have my circle on Twitch that I watch, and as you can tell, have not had that much time to deviate from that. There's our boss rush for free. But I'm open to ideas. But either way, you know what? You're going to laugh at this because this is way too much setup. But we're going to go back. We're going to drop... Let's go, by the way. Let's go, by the way. We're going to drop the sun card here so when we fool out, we can pick up the sun card immediately and not forget about it. But there's essentially two phases that variety streamers go through, and it's like a business cycle. You know, they like oscillate back and forth between these two extremes. One is, I'm loving this game so much, I don't want to play anything else. That's where we're at right now with Super Auto Pets. And then the other one is, there's nothing to play, let's spend an hour today talking about what to play and shoot down every suggestion. Or maybe that's just me, okay? I guess I can't say that that's universally applicable. However, we're right now blessed. I choose to see it as a blessing. We're blessed to be in a situation with Super Auto Pets where I find myself having to step on the brakes more than I have to step on the gas. Which is to say, I am actively trying to play less of it on YouTube and Twitch than as opposed to like forcing myself to play more. It's a great situation to be in, to be enjoying something so much and also have the audience enjoying it as well. Yeah, okay, I killed everything on the other room. Sorry to my donation machine here. I apologize to you. High Priestess, big waste of everybody's time. Full health, that one's on me, I should have known. I will take BFF just because we can. And we can afford to take our time to explore here. I gotta chill out. I'm going a little too fast. You don't need all that. Just enough to spit out 2 Spirit Hearts, please. Thank you so much. Oh, a Soul of Isaac. Might prefer that to the Sun card. I don't know. But I will say I played a lot of it on Android this weekend. Well, it is only Sunday at like 9 a.m. So to call it the weekend maybe was a little ambitious, but unambitious. I don't know if we're gonna have the Devil deal available to us if we go in here. So I think we'll just go in here and try our best. These are all kind of bad. I guess we'll take a second big fan. I was kind of hoping it would give us Beelzebub, but alas. I gotta tell you, it's been ripping, man. I've been enjoying it greatly. You know what it does? I think it's... The problem with auto battlers, for me, and not everybody's gonna be in the same ballpark here, is that watching them has always been kind of like inscrutable. You know, team fight tactics, Dota, auto chess. Like, I believe that once you get into the mechanics of the game, they're a lot of fun to play. Like, TFT, it took me, I don't know, 10 hours to even understand what was happening when I was playing it myself. Much less, like, when people are, you know, talking over top of it. But once I got it, I was having a good time. I was. We need a key so we can go to this item room. I guess we'll donate as much money as we can here. But I think, just quite frankly, this is just me as a consumer on Twitch. I think they're just not fun for me to watch because I find them kind of inscrutable, right? Like, there's a lot going on, and you know, people lie to you. They tell you like, oh, just relax and you'll understand what's happening, or you don't even need to understand what's happening. It's just fun. And like, yeah, it's easy for you to say when you know what's happening. You're like, oh, it's a lot of fun. When you have no concept of what's going on, oh, I guess we're still fighting. You're like, what, you know, I have no idea what we're doing here. I guess I just paid 3 Spirit Hearts for a speed upgrade. Take me down, please. Super Auto Pets gets around that problem. That's what we want. A planetarium, dude. By really just being, you know, super... The information is open. You know what's gonna hit and when it's gonna hit for the most part. I don't really like Mars, but it's okay. So it's a nice item down here at the very least. And it's just that people understand it when they look at it. Like, I played an auto battler that's very similar to like Hearthstone Battlegrounds this Monday or this Tuesday called Storybook Brawl. Came highly recommended. A couple of channels that I follow on Twitch have been playing a lot of it. They're channels that I follow because they're insanely great at Slay the Spire. And as a result, you know, I followed them on Twitch to maybe like learn a thing or two, and then I realized that, you know, it takes them 7-8 hours to do one A20 run, and as a result, I'm like, maybe I'll just check the Cliff Notes later. So I had a feeling that Storybook Brawl was really good mechanically, so I thought I'd check it out for myself with my recent auto battler enjoyment, of course. And I did like it, but I also found that it kind of, I mean, just to be straight up with you, I was like, I kind of miss Super Auto Pets. Because it is inscrutable, like the first little bit when you play it, you know? You got all these creatures you've never seen before. Every creature also has like flavored text, well, not flavored text, but like genuine, like mechanical descriptions of what they do on the card. And then they've got an archetype or like a class that they fit into that synergizes with other things, and you got items. Then that's before you even get into them actually like doing their attacks. Yes, I did just use that for 2 cents, and I do not apologize. Chariot's kind of interesting. It's fun, at least. And it's just like, you see like a bunch of ovals just like lashing out at each other, and you're like, why can't we be friends? You know, that's the vibe that I get from those games sometimes. And I think about it from like the viewer perspective, man. You know, I'm a big believer in the idea that sometimes like analytics like don't lie, man. Consistently, Super Auto Pets does really well. I think that if a certain personality type out there is like, you know, they use that cynically to go, well, he's only playing it because like people, it has such good numbers. So that's not really the case. It's, well, I mean, it is actually. It's, I define, you know, what I play in my downtime by what I find most enjoyable, but sometimes you would, you know, play stuff on the stream that and this is how I use the analytics, that most people want to watch, or the maximum number of people want to watch, and I find that intersection of me having fun with it. So I think, you know, I always take it as like, instead of like, oh, you gotta chase the analytics, you know, 100 surprise slimes drop on an island, I just used the chariot card by accident. My mistake. Hey, thanks for the demon heart. My mistake. I'd like to escape, please. Thank you. I use it as like, you know, oh, people are still enjoying watching this. Cool, let's keep playing it. I was laughing because Kate and I were just like decompressing, watching some YouTube videos last night, and there was like a YouTuber house tour I saw. And it was like, I laugh because I've seen this many times before as well, but like, the YouTuber house tours are like so self-important. They're like, here's the snack bar. Every day we got a catering company that comes in and replaces the snack bar. You know, I gotta have my Swedish fish before I start doing my videos. And then they go into this room, and it's like, this is our war room. This is where we talk strategy and talk about like what our next video is gonna be. And then I went to their YouTube channel, and don't get me wrong, they're killing it. They got like, you know, high single-digit million subscribers, hundreds of thousands or millions of views per video, but every single video was like, you know, pranking my girlfriend pretending to be old man. 100 buttons, but except this time every one you press releases slime, and I was like, you're really in the war room? I just picture like a bunch of, you know, the content strategists in the room at like, you know, 1 a.m. smoking cigarettes, like racking their brain. What are we gonna do this week? Okay. How about this week we do the last person to take their hand off of the gold bar wins the gold bar, episode 45. That's genius. What if we did, you know, look, I'm not trying, this is content that is watched by children. I'm not insulting it, you know. I have a baby myself. You know, like her favorite thing in the world is the wheels on the bus. It's not like, you know, a Richard Linklater film. You know, it's not emotionally deep. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I'm gonna shatter this like illusion for you. The Wheels on the Bus is like one of the best children's songs because you can just keep it going ad infinitum. You know, if the baby's enjoying it, it doesn't even, you could just be like, you know, the tomatoes on the bus make a nice red sauce, nice red sauce, nice red sauce. The tomatoes on the bus make a nice red. You could start going over like what you need to do for the rest of the day while you're singing the song, as long as you just keep the tone going. It's a great improv exercise. But I just like, I laugh, I guess, not at other content creators, you know, for the way that they choose to live their lives, or like, oh, me making jokes while playing a video game is okay, but you, the 100 ping pong ball, you know, cinnamon challenge is like, oop, let me out, you piece. It's more that it's like this, the desire for YouTubers to be seen as like, not just like, hey, I'm a funny clown that makes videos on the internet, but also like, I'm a serious business person that clearly spent a lot of my formative years watching Entourage. I guess you know, and this YouTuber, they were a little younger than me. And maybe it's what they genuinely want, for the record. You always got to acknowledge that, like, you know, people out there have different ambitions in life. But for me, I was like, man, it's just, don't you just want to, like, make the videos and not worry so much about, like, being seen as, like, a Gary Vaynerchuk-style influencer? I don't know. Maybe, again, people are into what they're into. And nothing really against Gary Vaynerchuk, but it's like the Ouroboros influence, where you're, like, an influencer who is famous for, like, motivating influencers to, like the rise and grind style influencer culture. Like, I always find, because I've watched them on occasion, you know, just sometimes I get linked, sometimes they go viral on Twitter. I'm immediately skeptical, I guess, of anybody who's like, I work 18 hours a day, and all the work that you see on their YouTube channel is telling people to work, you know, 18 hours a day. And they're always like, oh, I just got off the plane from a business meeting. Oh, I just had a big call with this person. And I'm like, well, then show it, coward. Oh, I couldn't possibly, for business reasons. Source dude, just trust me. But I don't know, man. It's just, I mean, let's not call it a caricature necessarily, because again, that's rude. But this guy was living in a house that he pays, this is legitimate, by the way, $45,000 a month for in rent. It's an amazing house, and it's decked out in, like, you know, what Dude Perfect style fashion. You know, it's got like a swimming pool and stuff like that has the logo of his, like, YouTube channel embroidered or whatever on the bottom, and then his house has, like, you know, all the YouTube stuff is custom branded. This is not a joke. He has a Lamborghini that is wrapped in, like, you know, I don't even know what you describe it as, but it's a custom wrap that also has his YouTube logo on it. And I was just like, man, I don't know. I guess, honestly, first off, I'm not at that level. We could start to talk about maybe getting like a Honda Civic, you know, with a custom wrap. It's not that, like, I guess I don't have the means. It's just that my desire for it is so mismatched with what it would cost me to get it done. You know, we could probably find a way to get it. Whoa! There's our Mars cooldown, owned. We could probably find a way to get it done. It just has so little appeal to me. Like, I would rather buy, like, 300,000 Cliff Bars or something like that. That's got to be a lifetime supply, right? That's like, you know, 10 Cliff Bars a day. Either way. I don't know, it's so funny to be, I'm not a man that is devoid of want, right? But it's just really funny to me to watch how, like, the YouTube industry has changed. And, you know, like, it's not like when I started, everybody was just in it for the love. Like, people were stoked that you could start making money with it. And it didn't take long for, you know, people to be like, you know, moving to Los Angeles, and, you know, we're starting creator houses and stuff like that. Like, that's not just a phenomenon from people that started YouTube much later, but like, I don't know, the glorification of that like YouTuber pseudo-celebrity lifestyle is always strange to me. Like my self-awareness won't let me get there. I think it's good to have a voice in your head that's like, I thought maybe that would get a secret room for us. That's like, I don't deserve this. And I know that sounds terrible. I don't mean like, it's not like when I eat like a meal, I'm like, oh, I don't deserve this. But whenever, you know, I think about buying something like a Lamborghini with my custom branding on it, I'm like, are you joking? Like, you make, you know, videos on the internet, man. You piece. I know we're low on HP, man. I'm like, I'm not scared. I'm having a good time, but it's the principle of the thing. Then again, we're also not at that high single-digit millions, so more power to them. And I mean that sincerely, you know, like do with it whatever you want. It's just the positioning of yourself as a YouTuber, not as an entertainer, but instead as like a business magnate, is always very funny to me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!